Okay, Alex, do you want to start us off?
Hi Robert, unlucky kind of result out there, and how do you kind of sum up the whole match?
I would say that Arsenal starts the game very well. They push us down, get a lot of corner kicks, the fans is with them, but we ride that storm out and actually create some really good chances in the first half, and after 15-20 minutes we start to play really good football as well. I actually think we have better chances than them in the first half. And if you look overall, I think they have 4 shots on goal and we 3. So if you look at the stats, it's actually quite good stats. Then we play against a very good team. So we need to defend very well. So the good thing is that we do that well, unless one situation. And then we actually take over the last 20 minutes of the game and try to go for it, which is also very nice to see for me as a coach. But you also see that we have still a gap here. We need to improve it fitness-wise, in decision-making, to make sure we can beat this team 2 times per year. But it's very nice to see the players taking those steps. I think from the other game against Man City, when we just defended and didn't have any goal, today we defend very well and we create chances and we have better possession and everything. So I see some really good improvement. And last year we lost, I think, 5-1 and 4-0 against Arsenal. So it's a very big step to what we want to do, but we're not there yet, though.
What was your thinking behind that decision when you also had Charlie Grant on the bench that can also play like that?
Ash was only between 45 to 60 minutes allowed to play today, so then I needed to do a change. Charlie just flew back from Dubai, Uzbekistan, Australia, and back, so she couldn't really train on Friday. She trained yesterday. Petzenberger have trained in that position 2 weeks, and the main thing is with Petzenberger, she's very good on the ball. So I was thinking that it's much better to have a really good passing player and then try to play those through balls than bringing a risk-full situation with Charlie, who has flew all over the world. So that was the decision, basically.
Okay, Chris?
3 changes today, Robert, including the goalkeeper. You've done exactly the same thing for the previous North London derby. Why was that today?
I mean, today I had a plan. We had a plan how we want to hurt Arsenal, and we knew from the other games we played against them that their defense line is not the quickest one, and Jessica Nass is very quick, and it's also like to make sure when we get the chances on relays and everything, we want to have speed. So if you look at that switch, it was because I think Jessica Nass is a really good number 9 in those situations, and she did really good games against Arsenal. Martha and her worked really good those games as well. Bara came back from playing from the other game and played a few games now, but I also felt like we needed to be very sharp in how we build up today, and I think Becky is one of the best goalkeepers in that phase. So I basically picked to go for that instead, and she's waiting a few games to get the playtime again, and I think, Bara has done well, but there's also a few situations where we need to improve with the communication and so on. So it's a very hard competition, and sometimes you need to switch goalkeeper as well.
You mentioned the gap as well between the likes of City, Chelsea, Arsenal and Tottenham, and you mentioned earlier on in the season that the ambition for you was to go for Champions League football next season. What do you need to do in the summer to get up to that level?
I think the first step is to make sure we keep developing these players to be even stronger, fitter, understanding the game model, because then I think we can compete in a quite good way. But also I think we need to make sure every time we sign a new player or a new staff member that we also take steps to improve in those areas, because I still think if we look at the squads, they have those players are starting players in basically all the best national teams in the world, and we have one now. Grace Clinton is starting in England, and we have a few more starting in and out in the other. But we need to take the next step where we have starting players in the national team so we can compete against them. And I think we need to develop them. I don't think we're going to buy them. We need to make sure we find exactly the right Grace Clinton characters so we can make them become national team players, and then we're going to improve. So hopefully already next year. But it could also be like we need to have one more year to try to compete, and then the third year will be the right year. But that's the process. That's the style we want to have. That's the style for Tottenham Hotspur. And that's what we're trying to do.
Kit?
Hi Robert, obviously big occasion today, big stadium, big crowds, and your local rivals as well. How do you think your players kind of managed the whole occasion?
I think very well. I mean, the first 10 minutes, you don't hear anything more than their fans, right? And you're trying to communicate to ride out the storm, and that's really tricky. And some of the players we have are used to this. I mean, Charlie came back and played in Perth, I think, or in Australia somewhere, and I think many of the players in this team actually getting used to this. But on the other hand, it's also not that common, and you need to learn how to communicate, how to use gesture instead of speaking, for example. But if you look at it, how they dare to play, how they take this game for those 97 minutes, I think you can see that they like and enjoy to play in front of a lot of people. So I'm very impressed with how we did the whole game, even if the first 10 minutes was tough.
When you can practice kind of in training, there's different style of communicating. You're playing in front of a very noisy crowd. There's been stories of like playing crowd noises in training and stuff like that. Is there anything like
Yeah.
that?
I tried to do that with Häcken before the cup final last year. So we're going to play Hammarby away. We knew there was 25,000. So I put on the speakers on the training ground and we just played really loud Hammarby songs. So the neighbors came over and was complaining because of that, because of the middle of the day. But we lost 3-0. So then I look stupid, right? So you can try, but you also need to just keep going. I think you're learning by experience, you're learning by doing. So every time you have these games, you're learning a few new stuff and you're learning more stuff. And then in the long end, you are used to it and then you cannot complain about it. But yeah, you need to practice by doing.
Okay, just to check, you didn't bring that tactic back this week?
No, I didn't. I think perhaps in the future, but it didn't work last time. So then I kind of tried to find new ways.
Just that.
Before the season, Tottenham's record against Arsenal in the league wasn't great. I think it was drawn 1 and lost 6. Obviously, you look at the 2 games this season, one of it at home, a very close game today. You talk about the gaps between the 2 clubs still, but you must be happy with the gaps that you closed in the short space of time as well.
I am. I'm actually very happy about that because we also had the Conti Cup where we played 3-3 against them. So if you look at one game, you can if you win that, you don't know if it's just luck or whatever. But now it's 3 games where we are competing with them. And that makes me believe in what we're doing very much. And I think the players understand that we also do that. But then Tottenham Hotspur is not just happy being competing with these teams. They want to be up there. So that's also, we know it's going to take time, but we're not. We're not happy about this, but we also see that, okay, the progress is doing fine. So you cannot just get everything in the right time. You need to make sure that you bring the time to the players to develop and the club and everyone. But you can tell that Arsenal have done this for a few years, right? And they're filling the stadium. They have this, you can tell that they have been in women's football for a long time and Tottenham have not been that. So we just need to work really hard to get up to that stage.
What's on that?
David from BComs here. Commiserations on the defeat. There's 2 questions from me really. Yet another sellout here at the Emirates Stadium. Does this sort of signify a step forward in women's football? And my second question to you really is, you speaking about the steps that Tottenham need to take in terms of moving forward. Where do you think Tottenham need to improve?
So the first question with the full stadium again and giving this to the fans and the players, I think that's why I'm here. I think that's more important than winning this game today. When they actually can fill the stadium and everybody who comes to this game, my kids are here today, and that you can see that women's football is actually enjoyable. The players that worked so hard for so many years actually finally get this approval that people come and watch and like the games. I think that's massive, and I think is something to follow. We want to follow that as well. We had a really good atmosphere at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So I think that's a statement that shows that the product of women's football is really good. So even if people saying stupid stuff about women's football, they are not correct, because this is shown that this generation people will enjoy it and they will come back, and when they grow older they're gonna bring their kids. So I mean, this is for real, this is not fake. People is actually coming here, watching the game and enjoying it. So it makes me very happy, because that's a big thing for me, that we take steps. And if you look at how we play football and how we need to compete against them, what we need to do is we need to be patient. We have a plan. That plan is very good. We have really good staff members around. We have a 3-year plan. We have a 5-year plan for the club and everything. So I trust the process, that we shouldn't rush it, that we just shouldn't try to buy the best players and do that. We should do it our way, and it needs time. But I think everybody see that I think they started in March, changing a little bit and bringing staff members to that club, and then I came in the summer. We had another transfer window. We have recruited sports psychologists. So we take steps in the right order. We don't play every game at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yet, but we're going to make sure we improve there and fill the stadium and have a good product. So I think trusting the process and understanding that we're going to have some losses sometimes, but in the long end we're going to be a top team. We're going to be in the Champions League, because we know what we're doing and we have the right competence for it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.